with Clint Arthur. You may have seen him on CNN, Today's Show, BBC, Sky News, Forbes, Fox. He's been on all of it. He's the author of the book Wisdom of the Men. And it's up for a nominated for a Pulitzer Prize. There it is, Wisdom of the Men. Pretty impressive. Now, you just told me before we started recording, you have Mick Jagger, Mike Tyson, Donald Trump,
Joe Biden, Bill Clinton, Hillary Clinton. I am an equal opportunity celebrity selfie slut, and I got selfies with just about every single famous person in the world in this book.
And you got a quote from each of them, or like you asked them all, what's the most important thing you've learned in your life? And they gave you what they felt was the most important thing they've learned in their life, and you put it into a book.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
It's been quite a journey. You know, I grew up in New York City, and the first story in this book is about when I went to Studio 54 when I was 15 years old, and I met Andy Warhol in Halston.
Andy Warhol, wow.
You know, that's one of the early stories. But, you know, I'm a native New Yorker, and I wanted to do this interview because the world has changed so much, and it's so improbable that I would be now spending the vast majority of my time here in Mexico. That's why I've got these flags set up the way they are. If you had ever told me that me, a graduate of PS40, Junior High School 104, Stuyvesant High School, I went to the University of Pennsylvania Wharton Business School, if you had ever told me that I would be living in a small city in Mexico, if you, your papers, may I see your papers, please? Yes. Papers. And that's why we're calling this interview Nazi Germany, 1939 all over again, because that's the way I see what's going on. I have said to my Canadian friends and clients, are you insane? You need to leave Canada. I mean, how can you stay there? So and we're not that far away.
You're saying basically we are at that point of 1939 Germany when the smart Jews were like, something's going on here. I'm getting the hell out. That's where we're at right now.
You know, I have always thought, I've been interested in gold. And one of the things I want to talk about is gold today and how you can safely and smartly travel with gold across borders. Because for years, I'm Jewish, and for years and years and years, I've wondered, would I have marched myself into a gas chamber in World War II for the Nazis? And I don't think I would. And I've all long time, I've thought to myself, I should have some gold in case I need to bribe a guard to get across a border. This is the kind of things I've thought about for years because of, you know, the world. And I was coming back from LA a couple of months ago, and I had some American gold coins on me. And lo and behold, I was stopped by a national security, National Guardsman at the airport in Mexico City. They wanted to examine these coins. And he asked me, this is takeaway number one for all the patriots and for any American or smart person who is going to have some gold coins on them or some gold. He asked me, what's the value of these coins? I said, well, it's stamped right on the coin. It says $50. It's just $50. Now, anyone who knows a 1 ounce gold American coin is stamped $50. An American Eagle, the current 2021 American Eagle, says $50 on the coin. But the value of the American Eagle is 1 ounce of gold, which is $1,800.
Right.
So, when you're traveling internationally, instead of traveling with gold bars or fractional pieces of gold, it's smarter to travel with actual coins that have a value stamped on it, because the value is always far less than the actual value of the coin, and it allows you to go between countries without having to declare or without having to raise any eyebrows that you have lots of money on you, because even if you had 10 of those 1 ounce gold coins, which would be worth over $18,000, if you had that, it would only be really worth $50. I mean, $500. 50 times 10 is 500. So that's a smart way for people to have some valuable things with them that you'll always be able to transform into cash or valuable services or commodities or food or a house or whatever you need.
It's going to come real in handy now, because what we're seeing with hyperinflation, empty shelves at stores, we got the cargo ships being stranded out in the ocean, kept out in the ocean. I mean, bro, this is real. And I told everybody this was going to be nuclear. And I didn't mean like a nuclear war, but there might be a nuclear threat. You never know. I think there's international affairs that are going to be heating up. Everything's coming to a tipping point. It's all happening. We're watching it right now. When did you leave America? When did you leave New York City to go to Mexico? When did those instincts kick in?
2 weeks to slow the spread. I said to my wife, "Hey, baby, do we want to go back to our apartment on the 13th floor in Midtown Manhattan with all those old people who live in our building? Or do we want to go to our property in Los Angeles, which we hate? We've hated it for so long because LA's homelessness problem and the overbearing police and the people in LA. It's, you know, I couldn't stand it. So I got out after a long time and moved back to New York. Or do we want to rent a house in Florida or Arizona, which we don't know anything about? Or do we want to go to our favorite resort in Mexico and make it a vacation?" And that's what we did. 2 weeks to slow the spread turned into 4.5 months. And we have always loved looking at houses and real estate. And we started looking at real estate after the first month, just casually to see what's available. And we ended up buying a villa at the end of August. We made the offer and we closed in November of 2020.
So you kind of monitored, you kind of watched what was happening in America, and you're like, you know what? We're not going back. You saw where this was going. You saw where the tide was going. We know what happened in 2020 with the, let's just call it the heist of 2020. That should have been like the first indicator, like, oh, shit's going south fast for the smart people. We saw this. We go, okay, we know what happened. They robbed us. Which I'm used to in boxing. They robbed us. It was I got robbed. We got robbed, and now we knew this is going to be a fast slide. To me, Biden is a Trojan horse for the deep state, the CCP, and what we're seeing right now is what I've told people all along. It's going to be record. It's like a plane going down, and we're all hostages on it, right?
It's shocking that they could do what they did in November of 2020. It's unbelievable that a theft like that could happen, that it could be allowed to happen. I mean, where are the fail-safe? Where are our safeguards? Where are the people who we pay lots of money to protect us? The three-letter agencies, the military. How come no one stepped in? And, you know, there's this theory of devolution. And it's funny, in Mexico, when you go to the Home Depot to return something, they say cambio or devolución. Devolución. See, that's return.
Yeah.
I am hoping and praying every day for the theory of devolution. And I have to believe that Donald Trump was smart enough to put this stuff into action, because he was either the greatest or the worst president we ever had. If he didn't do devolution, he's the worst president we ever had, because he let it just go away.
Right. And he gets us to the finish line and says, fuck it, I'm out.
I don't believe it's possible. I really don't. The guy is too smart, too nice. He's in the book. Nicest guy, so charming. We went to a rally and met him at a rally. He comes right over. We're like standing on the rail after the rally is over, waiting for autographs. He comes right over to my wife. He goes, "Oh, this is a gem here." And he gives her a big kiss right on the cheek. I go, "I went to Wharton, Mr. Trump." He goes, "That's a good school. This is a gem here. You got to take care of this one." And I said, "Can I get a selfie, sir?" He goes, "Go ahead." So that's the picture that's in the book.
He's such a lovable guy. He's Papa Trump. I call him Papa Trump.
I swear to God, I felt like he was my dad. I really did. I got that same vibe. And to that, I just want to say, you know, my dad passed away in 2006. I'm so grateful he doesn't have to live through what's going on right now. He was a World War II veteran. And if he would see what's happening now in our country, he would be just mortified. He'd be sick. He wouldn't want to see it. And I'm happy that he's in a better place. But, I watched your interviews with Juanito, And I believe that there's a lot of stuff going on, and I really hope and pray every day that we're going to get to the point where we can have a return to sanity. That's what we need, a return to law and order, a return to justice, a single-tier justice system, and a return to sanity in the United States and the rest of the world.
I've talked to Juanito a lot in private as well, and he said that the correction of this, there has to be some kind of, there's safeties in place, and devolution is involved, but there's safeties in place to where it's not as extreme as people think it's going to be with devolution. But devolution is involved to a degree. But we're watching the Democratic Party, we're watching the government cannibalize itself. They're like throwing gasoline on each other and giving each other matches, basically, is what we're watching right now. And as we see this play out, people need to be red-pilled. This is from what I understand. And as it plays out and it goes forward, then there are safeties in place, but there needs to be some kind of event. Could be a nuclear event, could be a scary event, a Cuban Missile Crisis type of event. That's what Juanito says, right?
Yeah.
But where we're at right now is 1930. It's scary. It's 1939 Nazi Germany. And you saw this in 2020 and you said, you know what? Would I have gone to the gas chamber? And you got the hell out of here, man. And I have so many friends that are losing their jobs because of this.
And one of the philosophies that I use is I want to do everything the opposite of what everybody else is doing. That's why I don't really do Facebook Lives. Everybody does Facebook Lives. I go on TV news and talk shows, right? So I heard or read about this Australian company that were in the Himalayan mountains. They had sold all their possessions to go on a 1.5-year trip around the world, and they got the call to go back to Australia. They went back to Australia from the Himalayan mountains. I mean, what are people thinking? You really have to be smart about this stuff. And whenever I hear a government agency say anything, I believe the opposite is true. 100%. So when I heard Jerome Powell say that inflation was transitory, that's when I started to buy gold. Because that's when I believe that, hey, if he's saying that inflation is nothing, then it really must be a problem. And I really do believe it's a problem. And I don't think it's an accident. I don't think any of this stuff, unfortunately, when people refer to the politicians as being inept or stupid, that's not true. None of this is ineptitude or stupidity. Everything they're doing is on purpose. They are setting out to destroy the United States, and it is the elected leaders who are doing it.